In my current relationship, I'm not feeling seen again. I'm having some issues about not being seen. And I think a lot about things my mom said, that you become more invisible as you get older. And she told me that one day, and I felt the sadness of that. The age thing is a factor. It makes you have to work harder in a way to be seen or heard.
I had this idea that somehow when I was an older woman, I would know what I was doing, and I would feel sort of calm and settled and confident, and I wouldn't have all these questions. Well, I peroxided my hair, and then I put this kind of blue in stuff, so it was almost like a silvery gray, which I really liked the color. As a teacher, you actually are very visible because people literally look at you. I feel very comfortable with my level of visibility, I guess I would say. A lot of my visibility now comes from things that I do. It's not so much based on appearance, but it's like in my work. I feel like I'm seen, I'm respected, I'm valued.
It's easier to appreciate once you've been in the invisible part of it for a while. And I think the upside to being invisible that whole time is that I never molded to the shape that was expected. I was always kind of doing my own thing. So by the time high school came around, I knew what I liked and I was ready to just put myself out there that way. Design was just, what is design? Like I was just completely unaware. Suddenly, I was up there presenting work and I was ready for the spotlight, but because I was so confident and I knew what I was talking about and I wanted everyone to understand what I was talking about, and I looked forward to being in the spotlight. I didn't want to be.
For some people it is, but for me it's not a statement. I'm not like claiming anything. I'm just being an individual and kind of embracing the other part of me that I felt like was kind of, like my black side that I felt like was kind of like hidden away for a really long time with like straightening my hair and things like that, like it's just kind of me being proud of who I am. My hair, my dreads have started to become me, and not that I'm saying that like it's made me visible, but it's definitely helped. Yeah, I remember you. It's made my face more memorable, and I'm afraid that when I cut them eventually, people aren't gonna remember who I am. It really is like a fear. Is that when I do decide to cut them, I'm not gonna be that person anymore. You know what I mean?
So I think for me, being visible had a lot to do with
in this culture, older people have less visibility
in a way
and
I felt
are
in high school
respected
I wanted
less.
to be visible. I wore provocative clothes, and I also wore but I guess I really did create a lot of attention on myself. I think that I really learned to actually silence my voice. In the working world, working in corporate and working for design firms, I really, really struggled with how visible could I be and how invisible could I be.
I feel invisible right now because I'm trying to finish up my design degree, and I am afraid of what's to happen after. My visibility as an artist in high school was, I would say, non-existent. Graphic design gives me that visibility because I do go out of my way. I did change a lot, and I think I was very introverted when I started school. Even in college, I didn't like speaking to people, so taking design and studio art classes, it helped me. As I would say, they were opposite of me, but they helped me
design being so male dominated. I think that a lot of times, and just so I think what I'm looking forward to, other than this great challenge, it's just evolving. And the wonderful men, I love them like my brothers. But using that, it's a struggle to inspire, reassert yourself, every day, make more insist that, counterculture, make more work, your ideas, your design, the way in which you perceive things, not because I'm a woman, have value, but because it's challenged. So, maybe.
I think that her vision an idea of invisibility affected me strongly probably until my father died. That the things that I put first were things that my mother valued, and I don't know, something about losing my dad made me really I don't know, value, I guess, my own voice and really listen to the things that make me feel, valid and visible, and not even just that, I think, beyond that.
At least for myself, the transition from later 40s into my 50s, because I just turned 50, it had a level of difficulty for me. I think that it's right around age 45 where things start really changing for you. Your body starts changing. Your emotions can change, which I definitely experienced that. You start noticing that people see you differently and start treating you differently, and that's difficult. So it really changes. And I use the word a lot, especially perimenopause, because I realized that's what a lot of what I experienced in my mid to late 40s is, directly related to perimenopause. It's very frustrating that no one really talks about it, tells you about it. I didn't have any, women in my family who told me about it. Doctors can't even tell you about it. You would think at this point in time we would know more about it, and that women would be educated and about this phase of life, and that there would be more places to...
It was hard not being taken seriously because I was a woman, because I was younger. Even though I sort of walk this line between visible and invisible, because it's always changing. I mean, I'm just another mom at the park, or I'm another and then just being girl at the store. My computer screen and not having any contact with the client. We had project managers for that. It became I'm just another female on the freeway. But then I'm, doing things that are setting me apart, with design and projects that I take on, the way I raise my daughter, and I'm enjoying not having to be one or the other.
The topic of visibility is so interesting because we don't so much necessarily think about it, but of course it's huge. It's huge in our love lives. It's huge in our social status. It's huge in careers. The thing that's happening now, of course, is now I'm getting into middle age. I'm getting well into middle age, and I've always been a little bit of a gidget. I've always been this very youthful, young, physicality kind of person. I'm small, and I'm slender, and I have still that obnoxious, precocious personality. So I've always felt young, and now I'm not young. I'm young-ish, but I'm not young. And so it's definitely weird to be like old and young at the same time, because I feel old and young at the same time. And I will say that that's a weird place to live. I've always been able to create connection when I want to. And I think the issue of visibility or invisibility really comes down to connection. Do you get not just seen, but then what comes after being seen?
I think when you get older, you don't feel as vulnerable when you're visible, which is a good thing. And I feel that when you're younger, you put so much importance to... And I think it has a connection with your physical looks, and that you look like an older woman.
To do with physical appearance
in our
too.
Society isn't really having a lot of status to
and
be.
I think when I was younger,
an older woman. I feel like
I didn't
or older or middle age. I think
acknowledge
it happens
that.
Around. For me, I felt the shift around
visibility.
I don't know, 45,
I didn't really understand
46,
that it's because I was
that I felt
a young woman that was
changed.
Maybe looking, pretty in some sense, and
I didn't understand that maybe was a lot of that visibility came from that. I was never really aware of that. But when it stops, you're looking back and you think, oh my God, it's such a difference. And I have to say, it's kind of nice. I don't mind not being looked upon as an object. I really kind of prefer not to. So that's nice, but I don't appreciate being kind of put outside of the discussion, you know, outside of a discussion just because I'm aged, and which should in so many ways give more to the discussion than less of the discussions.